WNUF, the Halloween special, is currently streaming on Shudder. This was recommended to me by a subscriber of mine named Jason the Horror. And unfortunately, I hate to break it to him. I never want to do this when someone recommends this to me on here, but oh man, did I just pretty much all but despise this movie. Now, I'm not going to just completely cut this to shit. This is going to be a really short review, though. Honestly, I don't have a ton to say about it. This is a found footage type of thing, but they put a new spin on it. And I'm not saying that this won't have an audience. I mean, clearly it was recommended me by somebody, so he liked it, and I've seen a lot of glowing reviews online, and that's wonderful. I always want people to enjoy movies, as I always say. But this is trying to be a lost TV special, and that was shot in the 80s, like 1987, I think. And they are so successful to their detriment. It's weird. I never thought I would say something like this, but it's so authentic that it bored the shit out of me. Like, it was so authentic, it actually was like, meh. And what I mean by that is that this plays out like you're watching a VHS copy of the news, where it has tracking lines, it has static, it's full frame, they fast forward certain parts. Like, so you're like sitting at the house watching it with your buddy, and he's like fast forwarding it basically. And the thing that killed this movie for me, and I think the novelty of it was cute and, clever at first. They took stock footage and they added in their own little cute narrative to put together a slew of fake commercials. And every time they cut to, they're doing the special. This guy's going to, he's going to report at this house, this haunted house in town. It reminds me of that Tales from the Crypt episode. And when he, things start to happen as it goes on, but way later in, and it cuts to commercial breaks like it would in reality. It cuts to commercial breaks like every 2 to 3 minutes. And the commercials are like 2 to 3 minutes. And they're not interesting. They're not funny. It's not like Grindhouse where they made like these funny faux trailers. It's not funny commercials. They're like the boring commercials you want to fast forward. And I watched like half of them before I finally just started fast forwarding them, because every one of them was completely pointless. And it just felt like I was watching 80s television. And not in a good way. Just like super boring commercials. And I was just kind of like, okay, I get it that you're doing an authentic thing. But if at a point in this movie you were having whoever is fast forwarding the movie for us on, in their world, or I don't know, I guess I'm watching them fast forward, whatever. Why not fast forward the commercials? Like, do the first 2 or 3 segments watching commercials, and then the next, the rest of them, have them fast forward through them, and maybe play them during like funny scenes. Like, use it more of a gimmick to a comedic element. Like, the fact that they're not funny, that they're not interesting, that they're just generic, boring commercials murdered this movie to me. Any chance that it had, these commercials killed, because it's like an 80-minute movie, and I'm not shitting you. Like 30 minutes or more of this is just boring commercials. And that's a shame. Now, as far as the storyline goes outside of the commercials, it's okay. It kind of reminds me of that, like, I don't even remember what that thing was called. The British, like, live taping. I'll look it up after this. Leave it in the comments below if you know what I'm talking about. But these, like, everything felt absolutely on the nose, 100%, like I was watching an 80s television, like news network reporting something like this. The two anchors, the guy who's down reporting in the streets, and all the people in the background, they all looked like they were from the 80s. Like a lot of these movies that try to do throwbacks to the 80s, it looks like people now dressed up in costumes trying to look like the 80s. Even in big budget movies, that happens a ton. And the look, they try to get that like grainy look, but it looks like they took good looking footage and then just added like video distortion through a computer on top of it. This looks like it was filmed on a fucking VHS camera. And the characters look like they're out of the 80s. Like, this is almost something where I have to look up, like, was this actually made in the 80s? Because damn, this is authentic as fuck. But my God, does nothing ever happen in this movie until like the last like 5 minutes. There's not really anything interesting. I wasn't laughing. I literally sat there bored the entire time. Not one time did I have any emotion outside of boredom. I didn't laugh. I wasn't anything. This did nothing for me. This is the worst review I think I've ever given. And I hate to be that, but as I said, I did give it its credit. God, is it authentic? Now, I think that's where people are liking this movie. And okay, good for you. That worked for you. But nothing else worked here. Nothing is scary or eerie or creepy or anything. There's no attempt at horror. There's no attempt at atmosphere or anything. It's kind of just like, I felt like I watched boring television for fucking 80 minutes. Well, maybe 70 because I fast forward a lot of commercials. But I'm sorry, Jason. This just did not work for me. But I would never give anything but my real honest opinion, no matter what anyone thinks. That is something I will promise to all of you. I will always give my honest opinion. So I commend the filmmakers for making this look so damn spot on from the 80s. I was an 80s child, so this very much felt like that. So fantastic job there. Hopefully they make another film and they put some time and effort into the thought of their story and their scares and their horror, and try to mix that with, their ability to capture the 80s. All right.